Hey guys, welcome back to another episode in my new apartment. Welcome back to another episode in my new apartment. I am so glad that I am able to create this content for you guys because as you can see, the light is giving literally. And I'm so happy because this is a dream come true for me. And I promised myself that when I moved in this apartment, I had like a whole list of things that I wanted to do in my new apartment. Okay, there are some things that I didn't tick. There are some things that I didn't tick in that bucket list of my search for a new apartment. But I am sitting here right now to say that most of the things that I was dreaming of in this apartment, and this is a great testimony for me because from the title of this video, we are mostly talking about this apartment and how I came to be in this apartment and how I'm grateful to God, and how you can also, I know you have dreams, and I know some of you clicked not just because you are my subscribers or not just because maybe this video was suggested to you, but because maybe you are looking for some motivation, or maybe you are looking for this kind of a video, and that's why I'm going to give you some bit of hope using this testimony. So I hope you really do enjoy this video because to me, I am so much grateful. I am so much grateful to be seated right here and to be doing some sit down vlog because it's been a while since we did some sit down vlog. And I remember I used to do these videos like really well, and when I was starting this channel, I used to do these sit down vlogs, and I would talk until I see like my recording is almost 40 minutes, and I'm like, what have I been saying for the last 40 minutes? Because when we do sit down vlogs, mostly maybe we have the title of the things that we want to talk about in the video, but we don't have like it's completely authentic, and it comes from the heart. You see, one of the hardest thing to do as a content creator is to do a sit down vlog, according to me, because you're more of talking than doing, okay, maybe showing us around, or especially for a travel vlog. I'm not saying it's easy to do a travel vlog, trust you me. Nothing is easy on this content creation space. It's not the way people think about it as for content creators. So I'm really grateful to be in this space, in this platform right now, doing this sit down vlog, and I'm so much grateful. I almost forgot how to do a sit down vlog. So before we dive into the inspiration of this apartment, allow me to take you through the last few where I have been before I came to this apartment. So before you do that, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. You give this video a like and a thumbs up. Basically the same thing, but make sure you watch this video and make sure you comment down below, because we do love to see feedback and we do love to see how people receive our content. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel and you leave a comment, and I'll appreciate. Subscription is absolutely free, so let's do this. So my journey to being in my own apartment, where you are living by yourself and growing by yourself all alone, like depending on yourself entirely, has not been easy, like many of you guys. And I also believe like many people out there my age, or not only my age, there are so many people out there who desire to have a place of their own. Like it would be the biggest blessing to have your own place. Maybe you're renting, or maybe it's somewhere you've bought or you've built. It's the biggest achievement for someone to have a place you can call your home. So my journey to having a place I can call my home, where I am responsible, like entirely responsible, I'm not depending on anyone, it has not been easy. And for me, it all started back in college. I remember when I was studying in this county. Actually, it's really funny how I've been in the same county. I think this is, okay, it's not I think, this is one of the biggest county in the 47 counties in Kenya, Kiambu. So I've been around Kiambu like for the better part of my life. as a grown-up, like the way I know myself right now. But okay, the first moment when I started living alone back then, okay, the moment I started living by myself was in college. I remember I went to a medical school in Thika called Thika School of Medical and Health Sciences, and the apartments, okay, it's a private college, and a private school by itself already is very expensive. Now you can imagine living in a hostel in a private school. The rent was crazy. Okay, the hostel fee was crazy, and that's something that I couldn't afford because yes, I'm in a private school. I'm in a school which I desired to be, but then I can't afford to be in that hostel. So I was living in this a small single room in the outskirts of Thika. It's a place where I would walk, or I would board a matatu to Thika town, which was like 30 shillings daily, and to Thika it was 30 shillings, and back was like 40, okay, ranging between 30 and 50, so it was not that expensive. But you can imagine back then, for me, 30 shillings to and fro, that's like 60 bob or 70 bob, but that was expensive for me because it was not a really good time for me, because I only had my mom paying my school fees, and she didn't have any help. Like, she didn't have that much help, but she was doing it. And as I make this video, my biggest superhero in my life is my mom, because she has been like, if she wasn't there for me, I don't think I would be here right now. I don't think I would be the person I am today. And I'm here today because she has molded me into a person who is responsible for herself. If she didn't give me that freedom to be myself at a very young age, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be talking about being in an apartment that I can take care of myself without depending on anyone. So she's my biggest superhero. So this apartment, it was in the outskirts of Thika, and it was going for 1,500 shillings. And I don't think right now you can get an apartment for 1,500 shillings. I don't think. I would love to go back there and see whether you can still get an apartment for that amount of money. And funny enough, 1,500 is Kenya shillings, and for actually, I think I even bargained to 1,200 in that apartment. No, it's 1,500. And that apartment, you can imagine, I have a token. It's a single apartment, and electricity and water is inside that 1,500 shillings. It's like it was given to me. So for me, I think I can say I have been held by God from the moment I started living alone, because that's the moment I started living alone. And I don't think it was scary for me. I think all my life I have been someone I have been daring my entire life, because at that moment I was led to go and live alone. Previously I was living with my aunt for almost a decade, and you can imagine my aunt was a strict person, and she wouldn't let you like be outside. Like, I don't think I've ever slept outside my aunt's house for the past like 10 years I had lived with her. So you can imagine coming out from a very strict environment and transitioning into an environment where you're supposed to live by yourself. So this was not easy for me, but I navigated so easily. And funny enough, while I was paying this 1,500 shillings, it reached a point where I stopped living with my aunt again, because I have been brought up near Nairobi, right here in Machakos County, from the age of I think 11 to the age of I think 17, 18. That's when I started living with my mom again. And that age I finished my Form 4 and I started living with my aunt, with my mom again. So, and I feel like all along I've been living with my mother, but now this time my mom has given me, she's that person who will give you freedom to do something that you really love doing. And someone is calling me. Just a minute. I'm back again. So that was exactly the first apartment that I lived in, and I could call, okay, I would say I was depending on myself, because my mom would pay the school fees, and one way or another I would pay the rent for that apartment. Don't ask me how. And this is a video that I'll do sometime. This is a video for another day. So that was exactly the first apartment that I lived in. Then after that, like 2 years later, I'm still in school. 2 years later, I transfer from now Kiambu County, not Kiambu County, from Thika, but still to another Kiambu County, and this is the still to another part in Kiambu County, but it's not near. Now this is the place that I came from before I relocated to this apartment like two weeks ago. So this place, the house was like 4,000 Kenya shilling. This was a mabati house in where I lost you somewhere. It was the same area that I came from when I was relocating to this place, but not the same house. So I didn't come from that house that I'm telling you about. So this was the second apartment that I was living in, and this time I was doing my attachment in Nairobi National Museum, and this is 2018. So I relocated to this place, and this time round the rent it's not even double. It's double plus 1,000 on top of it. And this time around, I don't have some privileges that I used to have back in Thika, because back in Thika I would do some hustles by my own, and I think I had really gotten to know this town, and I feel like this town molded me into the person that I am today, because it gave me so many opportunities. I wouldn't call them opportunities, but it enabled me to be someone that it enabled me to be in a position to have finances by my own, just hustling here and there, you get me. But now this time I come into a completely different town, and right now I am not in school anymore, so I've lost some privileges, like something I forgot to say. While I was in Thika and I'm in school, my mom would pay the school fees with a little bit of help from her employer back then, but should pay the school fees and then cut that amount of money from my mom's salary. So basically my mom was doing everything for me because she was actually working for it. But then at some point, this my mom's employer then he was a good man. He was someone I would count on. I would call him and tell him, Guka, because I used to call him Guka, I need money for this and this. But he's also another strict person. Like, you have to have, okay, he wouldn't, you know, I don't know, but rich people, they don't just throw away their money. Like, people who have worked hard for their money, they won't just throw away their money without a purpose. You see, these are the kind of people who you'll ask for something and they want to know the real reason why you want that kind of amount. So when I finished, or I completed my studies in college, and I have moved into this place and I'm doing my attachment, I remember he told me one thing, because I asked him for money for maintenance, because this is my first time. I'm not in school. I don't have a way to depend on myself. Most of the things I used to do by myself. Back then, we were really not in a good position. So most of the things I used to do by myself. So I remember I called him the first week of January 2018, and he told me something that I've never forgotten today. And it's not something that I'm furious about. It's something that taught me a lesson. And he told me I can't feed someone who is not in school anymore. So you'll have to know how you'll navigate and find your own way. And this is Nairobi. You have to start standing by yourself. And those words really pierced through my soul, because I was really in a situation where I really needed help, and this is the only person that I was looking forward to for my help, because as I said, I'm not from a very privileged background, so this was hard for me. But in one way or another, I began doing things on my own. I don't really know how, but to cut the long story short, because I'm talking about so many topics inside a topic that's supposed to be short, to cut the long story short, I navigated through, and a year later, now we are close to where we're supposed to be. A year later, it got really tough for me, and I wouldn't even afford to pay that 4,000 shillings. So I gave up and I went back to Nyeri. I went back to my mom, and that day I remember I didn't even tell my mom that I'm coming to stay home for good. But back then, an opportunity just came up, and I got a seasonal job, which was supposed to run for like 2 to 3 months. I did the job. So for these 2 to 3 months, I'm living with my mom back at home, and I was yearning to come back to Nairobi again, because I'm not used to being in the same place with my mom, because my mom is so empathetic, like the way mother should be. She was sympathizing with me, and I don't like seeing her in that position. I like her to see me as a person who is really trying to be in that position that I want, because I'm really someone who is supposed to be, okay, who is usually I'm that person who wants to be out there. That's what I'm trying to look for, out there doing my own thing, and to make things move or make things work. And I was not that person anymore. I was somewhere, like I was breaking down, but at least I was doing something, and I was supporting my family. But I did that for 2 months, and then I didn't come back to Nairobi like instantly. I started living with a close family, and from that I lived for like 1 year, the whole of 2019 and a bit of 2020. Like I moved from there at around July 2020, and I came back now to Nairobi. So don't forget, I left Nairobi like 1.5 years ago, and I'm coming back. I don't have anything. I literally have nothing. So this is where my best friend comes in. I talk about Grace all the time in my videos. I mention her here and there, and the reason why I mention her here and there is because she's the person who has been like she has held me for a really long time in a big way that I don't want to be emotional about. But when I came back, she's the person who like she took me in for a period of time, like maybe 3 months, and after 3 months I started living in the house that now I came from before we moved in here. So I moved in this house. I actually have a video of that apartment. I watched it the other day, and I was so emotional. I was crying because I was so happy to start a new journey, and that was like my first biggest achievement for a long time. Like it was my first biggest achievement since completing college, because it had been a rocky journey, and I was so emotional the other day. And as we speak, I feel like I'm becoming emotional as we speak. That is a video that has so many views in my channel right now, and it was one of the most authentic videos in my channel, and I'm so much grateful for everyone who did watch that video, because it is one of the most authentic videos in this channel of mine. Now I started living in that house in February 2021. I'll never forget. I paid my first rent in February 8th February 2021, and I paid my last rent this month because of so many reasons. At the beginning of this month, when I moved in this apartment, and my journey there was it was really good, and I have grown in that process of living alone, because I've learned a lot of things. I've learned from so many of my failures, and I wanted to create so many content when I moved into that apartment, but in one way, for one reason or another, I wasn't able to. Like I look between 2021 and right now, and as a content creator, I was anticipating to be somewhere far away from where I am today, like far better than where I am today. But I don't take anything for granted, and whatever happened during that time, it was bound to happen, because I wouldn't be here right now. And I have experienced growth in that apartment, but it reached a point where I felt like I needed a bigger space, and not even a bigger space. I needed a space where I would feel like I am in a home, like I have this, whatever I have right now, whatever I have as we speak, is what I have been anticipating for a long time. Then, like a few months later, actually beginning of this year, I had been feeling this urge to move out and start living alone. And once again, Grace comes with this idea. I feel like we should move out. No, she was talking as a person. I feel like I should move out, and I want to be in a different environment, because she had been living in that apartment for a while longer than I, because I found her in that apartment. And this is the second apartment we were living together, like we were living in the same place, because even the first apartment, the Mabati house that I just told you about, we were living there together, and we have been through so much, me and her in that apartment. And then I came and I joined her in this new apartment. I lived with her, and then someone actually moved out in the next door, like the house before hers, and we moved there, and we were neighbors. And so a few months ago, we started talking about moving out, and then I feel like I wanted to move out so bad, but she really came along in a big way, and she's like the person who is propelling you to move faster. And I feel like in life we really do need this kind of people in our life, people who influence us to be bigger than the way we are, or who influence us in a positive way. And I feel like she has been that person in my life, and I'm so much grateful, because she always watches all my videos. Because I know you'll watch this video and you'll be among the first people to watch this video. I want you to know that you are a very important person in my life, and I want you to know that you have prayed. Oh my goodness! Ooh. Yes, we've been praying together, but you have played a big role in my life and where I am today. I think you are someone who was sent to me by God, and I really don't take your friendship for granted. You have been one constant thing in my life that I'll always appreciate, and I will always not take for granted. So a month before we relocated to this place, we had this urge to move really fast. And that's when we talked to the landlord, not the landlord, the agent, and we were asking him about the process of relocating from that house. And he told us, when you want to relocate, you give a 1 month notice, and when you give that 1 month notice, it means the month that you're supposed to use your deposit, you're not supposed to pay rent. And we told him, as we are paying you right now, consider yourself notified that we'll be moving out at the end of this month, and at the end of next month. So the whole of this month, as we speak, we are supposed to be sitting for our deposit in that apartment, and we were supposed to move out by the end of this month, which is next week. Okay, not next week, it's literally this week. So it was like that. And he told us, at the end of now last month, you are supposed to remind me, so that I talk to the landlord and tell them that so and so is moving out of this apartment, and she's not going to be paying rent. And we thought we were sorted, and we started preparing ourselves. We came into this place looking for house hunting 3 times. For the first time, we looked for houses. I had never been in this place. I used to hear of this place. Actually, I was confusing Ruaraka and Ruaka, and I hadn't been this place. But then when we came here the first time, I told Chris, I remember this place. I have ever passed by here, going to a place called Denderu to see a friend of mine. She was called Mo, Blessed Mo. She has a YouTube channel, and I had come back there. I think it was in 2019 or 2020 or 2019. No, not 2019. 2019 I was in Nyeri, so it's actually 2020. So I remember the place, but I never thought I would be in a place where a place where I never dreamt of. But when we came the first time, I told Chris, I feel like that's the place where we should move to. But for her, this was the place, this was her dream place to be. But when I came here, I felt like this is the place that I should also be, because it's like she had the whole environment of a place where I wanted so much to be. It's like she had the whole dream. She carried the whole dream and she made the dream happen. So she brought me to this place, and we looked for a few houses with the help of a close friend of, with the help of her cousin. And we came here the first time. We looked for houses, but let me tell you, the journey to this place, it has not been easy. When we came to this place that first time, the first house we saw, it was good. It was a bed sitter. It was within our budget. And I remember the caretaker told us, hey, you are just late. You are like 10 minutes late. The person who has taken the two houses, the two people who have taken the two houses that you would have moved in, they just paid like 10 minutes before you came here. We were stranded. We went to the second house, and then the caretaker tells us it was actually the next apartment, like the immediate apartment. And he told us, if you came here like 2 hours before, you'd have gotten the house. It was not a bad house, considering. Oh, this is the second time I'm doing this. Considering the location, it was convenient. Convenient to work, because the stage is a walking distance, a very short walking distance. And I felt bad. And then the third apartment we went to see, it was not convenient at all, but the house was so good. The house was it was going overboard a bit. It was not within the budget, but it was good. It was something that you'd consider, but it was not convenient. We tried to ask for when the cars in the morning, because I have to get to work very early in the morning, and it was not convenient for me. And we went. That was the first day. But I remember the last house we saw that night, I slept the whole night, like arranging all my house item in that house, even without moving, because it was like the dream house. It is actually, even right now, that's the dream house. That is the house that I feel like, if I ever move out of this apartment, I would love to go into that kind of an apartment. But I would want that kind of apartment to be my home, like it's not for rent, mine. So that was the first time. The second time we came, we saw a few houses. So the second time we came through an agent, and we paid. The first time we didn't pay, so the second time we paid 1,000 bob each. And we found some good houses, but they were not giving. They were good, yes, but they were not giving. It was not something that I was looking for. But there's one house that was outstanding, and it was good. This house was everything. Like, it even had a balcony. This one we have right here doesn't have a balcony, but trust you me, I don't need a balcony. When I came into this house, I felt like I don't really need that balcony, because it's everything. As you can see right now, we are filming using natural light. I have my ring light here, but it's not even helping. It's during the day. I can't even use my ring light when I have all these lights. Like, light is literally waking me up. So we came here the third time. So when we are coming here the third time, it's either we get a house or we get house. In short, we didn't have options. And this reason being is we have now entered into a new month, which is June. And then the landlord and the agent, they have come in another different story. They say you're supposed to pay the rent because you can't use your deposit. Unfortunately, you're supposed to ask for your deposit when you're outside the house. And that was not the agreement. We had agreed on something different from whatever you are telling us. Someone is calling again. So we woke up like early. So this minute they are telling us all this. It's on a Friday. It's date 10. So if you really wanted us to pay the house rent, you'd have called us the time you're supposed to pay, like between date 1 and date 10. You had all the time to tell us before that we are supposed to pay rent, that you've changed your decision, and that you still want our money. You feel like you need our money before you go. You should have actually told us all that. But then they didn't even call me directly. They called Grace, because they knew when Grace knows, she'll definitely tell me. So they didn't call me. But initially the landlord had called me like on 31st of May and asked me if we are still moving out, and I told him, yeah, you told us to confirm, and I am confirming that you're still moving out. And then I thought we were sorted. So this time we are doing all this, calling Grace on a Friday. We have already planned by the end of the month we are moving to another place. And they called Grace the following morning. We woke up really early. Now it's on a Saturday. We woke up really early and we came to this place. Now Grace's cousin had this person, this agent, and when we first saw him, we were not even able to eat. Like Grace could not even eat, but I was there. I was so chilled. And I remember that morning, before even we saw the agent, I remember that morning I woke up at around 3, and I was telling God, I know this is a short time, I know we have been praying for this, but I know we're going to find a house today. We really need a house today. But at that moment my budget was not okay. Like, it was really not okay, because that was not the time frame, that was not the time that we were supposed to move out. But I woke up early that morning and I was telling God, I was talking to God, because that Friday we didn't sleep. We were packing the whole night, because I never wanted to pay for rent, another rent, and on top of that he still owes me my deposit. So it's like twice the money. So which means if we paid him this money, we won't be able to move out by the end of the month, because moving out is not an easy thing. If you've ever moved out, you know how hectic it is. You know how you can even be stranded, let me tell you. So we packed the whole of that night, and Grace and I decided the following morning we are waking up and we will be in now this place the earliest. So we were in this place by 9. We were already introduced to this agent, and it's like this agent really understood whatever we were looking for and the urgency of it all, because as we started looking for the houses, the other agent, the agent from our previous house, he's calling, he's texting, and all of a sudden they're coming up with ideas and all the kind of money that we owe them. And you know, during the last days in that apartment, it was don't get me wrong, this apartment, I'll still hold it dear to me, because that's where all this started. But during this time, like, they have hiked prices of everything. When we moved here, the rent was enough for garbage, it was enough for water, it was everything all inclusive. And that's why I think you should have a lease agreement before you move into a house, because since we didn't have that, they took advantage of the whole situation. And you never told me that, we never agreed on that. And if you want to save yourself from that kind of a situation, please make sure if you're moving out to a different place, you get everything in check in a way that someone cannot take back their words. So they're calling us, they're increasing, they're saying if you want to move out, because we told them that moment we are already in this place. We told them, what if we move out today? Do you still want us to pay the money for that? Okay, because literally you have our deposit, so we're not supposed to be paying, because that was the agreement. You're supposed to sit for your deposit and then move out. But then now they come with a new theory. You pay for this month, and then at the end of the month you move out, and then while you're out you start following for your deposit. And that, I feel like, conmanship. I'm sorry to say so, but how am I supposed to trust you enough to move out and leave with my money that you're going to give back that money? Is it not easier you let, I've been staying here not 1 year, not 2 years, but like 3 years. It's easier for you, because you know me, to let me sit for my deposit, and then I can move peacefully. But I don't think that really happens, because they calculated. In short, to make the long story short, we still had to pay some money before we moved out, because if we didn't pay that money, they would not have allowed us to move our items out, and we left peacefully. And I remember telling that agent, we've been okay, we've been living here for quite a while, but it's like you've chased us in a bad way, and I believe you are one of the people who are paying rent in due time. And he explained a lot, but when we came now into that, after that moment, now we're here, we're looking for the houses. I remember that night around 3 AM I was praying, but when we came here, I was so chilled, and I was telling God, me, I believe you're going to give us a house. And people are telling us you won't get 2 houses in the same apartment at this time of the month, because people are really moving in and out, so it will be hard. So you can pick, one can pick this apartment and the other one can pick the other apartment. And at that moment we had no option. Whatever came, we were supposed to embrace it. And so we get to this apartment. It was like literally close to the stage. It's like a walking distance, like 2 minutes. And we found this house. It was within the budget, and I told this landlord, I told this agent, together with that person, put a pin on it, because I think we're going to pick this house. And we moved out to the second one. That house was actually good. It was within the budget. It was good. And then we decided that now we're going to look for the second apartment, because Grace also needs a house, because that was supposed to be mine. Grace also needs a house. So we moved into this apartment that we are in, and we were taken straight to the apartment that Grace is in. And when we saw it, she was so happy, she was so thrilled, and she said, before anything else, put a pin on this one, because I think this is it. I don't think if you're going to outshine this house, then you really have done a very good job, but put a pin on this one. And everything was okay, and the lighting, everything was according to, I think, her budget. And then we moved it. While we were at the gate, now we were convinced I would be taking that apartment, and she'll be taking the house in this apartment. And while we were at the gate, that's the soldier. The soldier told us, have you viewed the houses? Like, which one have you decided to take? And we told them, okay, this house. And he told us, what about the other one? And I told him, there's another one. Yeah, a studio. Yeah, are you sure? Yeah, because the agent says it's only one apartment left, one house in this apartment left. And I was like, you mean there are 2? Yeah. And I told him, let's go and check the other house, because the other house is mine. And we moved into this house. Let me tell you guys, I cried because I was so convinced. It's like I knew there's another house, because that moment I felt like this is the house that we're supposed to be living in, but unfortunately it's only one. So we came back. It's in the same floor. It's actually a few houses apart, and I told him I want to see the house. I moved in here. I cried because I didn't cry because we have found a house. I cried because God had actually answered our prayers, because we wanted a house in the same place, but praying and believing for something and actually getting it, those are two different things. It's different for you to want a house in the same place and actually getting it, because it was hard at that moment. It was hard, trust you me. And so we told him, yeah, this is it. Now we go and talk about the rent, everything, and whatever you're supposed to pay, and we are moving in tomorrow. Let me tell you guys, as I'm saying we are moving in tomorrow, I didn't have enough money because the budget for this house, it was a lot. Moving, plus you don't forget the other, or the money in the other, we were supposed to pay before we move out of that place. And I think I literally had close to half of the total amount, the amount we're supposed to pay for the transport from that place to this place, the house for this place, and the deposit, and the money from the others. But let me tell you guys, within a period of hours, like 12 hours, God had answered my prayers. Let me tell you, sometimes I sit in this house and I feel like crying because all this happened like so fast, and I feel like God was making everything happen. So many things came through for me. And when I slept in this house the first night, I cried. I literally cried. The following day was on a Monday. In that moment, that morning, I couldn't even believe myself. But up to this time, I usually cry. It's been 2 weeks in this house, but I cry. Whenever I see myself here, I cry because me being here is okay. I wouldn't say it's because I was able enough to be here. I would say it's because God made it happen. And I would like to give my special thanks to every person who made sure I'm in this place, from the agent, from a special friend of mine. I know you're watching this, and may God bless you for me. May God bless you for me, because God really used you that day, and I don't really take that for granted. So I don't want this video to be long. We still talk a lot about this apartment in this light, and I don't want to be emotional, but I'm grateful for everyone out there who is struggling with the journey to being yourself. The journey to independence is not easy. It's not easy at all. But to everyone out there, every girl, every young man, every young girl, or anyone else out there who has a dream of owning their own place, who has this dream of being in a place that they would call their own, trust you me, that dream you have right now, that dream is so much possible. Don't give up on it. Personally, I find myself dreaming a lot about many things, but when you have a starting point, don't forget to count that as a blessing, and don't forget to start from there. When God gives you that moment to start from somewhere, please don't take it for granted. Please don't see the bigger things that you want and forget about the small things or the small beginnings that you have been given, and forget to count them as blessings. So I'm really grateful, and to everyone who has watched to this far, you're the real G. I'm so much grateful. Thank you for watching this video. I'll make sure I come back with a part 2 of this video, but for now guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video, and we're going to make some good memories in this apartment. And this is not the first sit-down vlog. The next vlog, I'll make sure we do something even better. But for now, I'm just grateful to God. Thank you for watching. Until the next time. Bye bye.